Hey, y'all. Shane Sams here. Thanks for listening to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast this week. Man, I am so excited for today's episode. Man, I am pumped up because we are welcoming back a longtime member of the Flipped Lifestyle community, an amazing guest. I think he's actually been on the podcast more than any other guest that we've had in almost 600 episodes of the show. Our guest today is Kevin Depew of relaxandlearnguitar.com. And man, I'm excited to tell you today, this is not just a normal call. Kevin has retired early, has quit his job. He has hit the 200 member mark in his membership, and he is now full-time online teaching people how to play guitar. Man, it's an absolutely incredible story. I just love Kevin. I love his wife, and I love that I have been able to be a part of this journey over the last 4 years, watching them go through the highs and lows of starting, building, and growing an online business. And when we got the message a couple weeks ago, Kevin telling us that he was taking the plunge, he was quitting his job, he was retiring early, and that he had reached his goal in his membership. For now, he's got bigger goals coming up. I literally cried. I mean, me and Jocelyn gave each other a hug. We had tears in our eyes, and we were just so proud of Kevin and so thankful that we were a part of his journey. So Kevin is going to come on today, and he is going to inspire you. He's going to talk about all those, getting over those struggles, getting over those obstacles, overcoming all those mindset issues and fears that he had to overcome to get to this point today. He's going to tell you what it feels like when you get to that goal, when you get to that dream, when you quit your job. Man, he's going to celebrate some big wins that he's had since the day that he quit his job. And he's going to tell you how his life has changed since that. I love all my members, but I'm a little biased about this one, y'all. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my interview with Flipped Lifestyle community member, Kevin Depew.
Welcome to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you again this week. I'm always excited to talk to our amazing members, man. But I am super excited today to celebrate with one of our longtime members. He's been on the show. I don't even know how many times. We'll talk about that in a minute. But man, this one's going to be a good one because we've got somebody who's flipped their life, quit their job, and changed their future today. My good friend, Kevin Depew. Kevin, what's up, man?
Hey, not much. Really happy to be here.
Relaxandlearnguitar.com is paying the bills now, son. How about that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. A little scary, but very exciting.
Yeah, man. That fear never goes away now. You're just accepting the roller coaster of the ride, but the freedom that comes with it is what it's all about. You know?
Yes.
That's awesome, dude. All right, so so we're going to go down a rabbit hole now and talk about how Kevin Depew started this amazing website, quit his job. And I have to tell you a story that happened to me last week. I shot you a text about this, but I got to tell the audience. So I'm getting ready to speak in Tampa, Florida at an event called Life Surge. Tim Tebow's the headliner, all these big people. There's like 4,000 or 5,000 people in the stadium. This is the biggest crowd I've ever spoken in front of. And so I'm getting ready to talk. And I'm at sound check the night before. And there's this big, the AV company's there. And the guy that owns the AV company and runs the AV company are all standing on stage. There's all these other amazing speakers and like famous people up there doing their sound check. And here's me doing my sound check, right? And so I'm flipping through my slides. And you are on one of my slides in the presentation because your story is hilarious, like how the whole Relax and Learn Guitar developed and all that stuff. And he the guy that runs this AV company taps me on the shoulder and goes, "I love that guy." And I thought at first he said, "I love that slide." And it was just a picture of you holding a guitar. It was like, what? I was like, "You like the slide?" He goes, "No, I love that dude." I was like, "Kevin Depew, you know who Kevin Depew is?" He goes, "Yeah, man." He goes, "I watch his YouTube videos all the time. I'm in his membership." And I thought, no way. And he goes, "Yes." He goes, "I'm in that guy's membership. How do you know him?" I'm like, "I helped him start his membership." And it was like, I was a little nervous because it was my, this big event and everything. And I was like, man, if that ain't God standing beside you on the stage, of all the places in the world I could have been standing with, and you got a couple hundred members in your membership, and one of your members members was on stage with me, and I just happened to flip through your slide right when he was standing there, man. But the Kevin Depew ripple is going around the world, babe. You're worldwide,
Right.
man. I'm running into your followers and members and fans on the road, Kevin Depew.
Yeah, we were confused by the text you sent that, and I was on the couch with Vicky, and she's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What's Shane doing?" And I start reading it, and I'm looking at the picture. I'm like, "Is that John?" I was trying to figure out the member, because I'm like, I know them all pretty well. It's not a humongous membership yet, but he's like, "That is so bizarre." I'm like, that made my day. Like, Shane's hanging out in Tampa, and he's like, "I know Kevin."
Yeah, I know, right? It was like the first time someone said, "Man, thanks for introducing me to that Pat Flynn guy." Like, I remember when someone said that because they found my podcast first. I was like, "Yeah, you're right. That feels pretty good," you know. But it's so crazy though to think. And maybe we can go back and review some of your story a little bit, because because when you came into the membership, what year was that? I don't even know what year that was.
Oh my gosh, it's been over 4 years since when I first started. I was in your membership for literally like less than 2 months when the email went out that said, "Do you want to be on the podcast?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah!" I have no idea what I'm doing. My idea kind of sucks, but yeah, let's do a podcast. So it's been over 4 years, I think.
It's unbelievable, man. And like your first, what was your first idea? I remember I was you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I was on like idea 3 when I first talked to you and Jocelyn. I had done like some stuff on time management, some stuff on creativity. I was doing stuff with like grandparenting. It was kind of all over the place. And nothing was really sticking. I mean, I built a website, which worked out well. So it was good to have a website built, but I kept changing the
theme of the website every other time. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember so many conversations like in the community, like even though I have so many in there, and like I remembered this conversation. The theme of it was basically like, it was like, well, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. And I was like, well, what do you do? Just what do you like? What do you like to do? And I just remember that concept. You were like, I just like to relax, man, and play my guitar. It's like, it's an empty nester, brings me peace, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, well, wouldn't it be cool if you could teach people how to relax and learn guitar? Because it wasn't just learn the guitar. It was like relaxing and having peace and in this hobby that you have. So there's like a whole like feel to it. And I remember we had these, I always tell it like this, but we had this conversation like, well, I'm not a pro guitar player. Who's going to listen to me? And I don't remember if you said it or I said it or somebody said, I'm like, you don't have to be Eddie Van Halen, like to teach people how to play guitar. You just have to show them how to play guitar. And listen to what that guy said to me on stage, Kevin. He goes, I go, really? What do you love about him? He goes, you know what I love about him? He's just a normal guy. He's not one of these rock stars out there. He's not playing fast. He slows down, and it really is relaxing when I learn how to play guitar. It's not stressful. And I'm like, man, if that's not exactly what we were trying to build back in the day, I don't know what it can ever be, man.
It took a little while, but I'm super happy it's here. So
that's awesome, man. Okay, so we won't go back to the whole thing. Just over the last 4 years, you've been building this guitar membership, right? What? And then you send us a message the other day. We get the post. It's like, what triggered you to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm retiring early. This is ridiculous. This is big enough now. We're in striking distance of where I want to be. Like, what was and I don't even know this yet because we haven't talked since you emailed me, but or since I saw the message. But like, what was the domino that made you be like, this is it, man, I'm going all in?
Yeah, I mean, we had like a number in our head to get to before I would quit. My wife's retired and helps out a lot. Tons of conversations. Honestly, what did it was last year, realizing never able to predict the future, what's going to happen next. I just felt like a now or never kind of deal. Like, why does this number matter? If I feel like I can get to that number anyway, why not just try it now? So lots of support from Vicky. She also had some health stuff going on at the end of 2020, which is another realization of like, you know what, life is fragile, and you might as well try to have the lifestyle you want now instead of always waiting till you get to another number. So we just pulled the trigger. I've been at my and I love my job. My job is great. I've helped people for a long time. I've been there 30 years. So
wow,
it was just time. It was like the number 30 came around in April, and I was like, not that I don't like the people that work there, but I just want to kind of see what happens if I go 100% all in on this. I've been doing 2 jobs basically full time for
4 years,
4.5 years.
Right.
So what happens if we do this full time? So that was kind of what started it all. So
how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 53.
Oh man, so, man, people come in all the time. They're like, man, I'm 50 years old. What? It's too late for me. I'm like, no.
Nope.
Colonel Sanders didn't cook his first bucket of chicken until he was 63, y'all. Kevin's playing guitar at 53. What are you talking about, man? It's never too late. It's just getting started time, you know?
Never too old to learn. I say it all the time.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. And like, it is so true, man. I think COVID, did teach us all that. I didn't realize, I realized that on a much smaller level, I think back when we quit our jobs, because, we had that, man, if this is what we're doing part-time, what could we do if we were all in moment? We definitely had that moment for sure. One thing that got me back in the day, you think that everyone thinks they're going to get this career or this sure thing or whatever. I was at a school one time, and, I was a football coach. I was about, to get tenure, like all that stuff. And all the tenured teachers were like, oh, they can't fire me. I'm tenured. The schools consolidated and it erased tenure for the whole district, basically. So,
wow.
Like there's nothing, unless you are the one pushing the plow, there's really not a guarantee. I mean, a boss can end your career with a stroke of a pen. A school district by the whim of the voters can wipe your tenure out. A company, you don't know how your boss is doing their finances and if everything's about to fall apart, and they can't pay you anymore. And, but it just that we're taught to hold on to that certainty, and if we don't have exactly what we've created in the narrative in our head, then it's not safe enough to like go out on our own. But it's kind of like having kids or getting married. You ain't ready. You're never ready. You just got to go do it and see what happens and how they turn out. Right.
You keep waiting. You're just going to be waiting 10 years from now. So I didn't want to keep waiting. I mean, the other thing was kind of like the fear of just like benefits, insurance. And once I kind of looked into that, I'm like, you know what? This is realistically doable. We've worked hard to kind of get rid of some of our debt to put us in a position to have a little bit of a runway now that I'm doing this full time. And insurance was holding me back, and I probably should have investigated the actual cost of having my own insurance earlier.
Yeah, for sure. Like, let's talk about that. I don't think we've ever talked about that actually on the show in 600 something episodes. What was the prep work like right before you quit your job? Because it's one thing to go make the money in the beginning and thinking, wow, this is amazing. But those same hangups, like, what about retirement? What about health insurance? Like when I started researching health insurance, like I actually found out, like I looked at what they were taking out of my check compared to what I could buy it for. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually winning if I go buy my own thing. Right. Mm-hmm. And I remember like about 4 months or so outside of when we quit our jobs, I looked at Jocelyn. I said, Jocelyn, this is growing. I think we were planning on doing it like a year and a half later. Jocelyn had her security date in mind, right? Like, well, we'll go one more year, right? And I was like, Jocelyn, we're growing really fast. I think we should do this. And she was like, well, I just don't feel comfortable. And I'm like, what if we sold our house? And then we'll move into a smaller house so we have less bills. Mm-hmm. So we did that. Like we sold our house and moved into a smaller place. Everybody thought we were going bankrupt. I was like, no, it's the opposite of what's happening here, people. And but that we had to do all this prep work, right, to prepare ourselves. So what did you do to prepare yourself to make you feel like this was a safer decision or a better decision?
I'm a complete planner and list master. And Vicki probably got sick of me talking about this topic, but I'll talk all day about it. The biggest thing was probably, the finances is a big part, but more so like how much money can we make doing this? It was more of what do we have now that we can not have to pay for in the future? So just the other day, Vicki calls my car the lawnmower. So I drive a 98 Corolla.
Heck yeah, baby.
Yeah. We have a nicer car, but of course, Vicki drives the nicer car, and that's the one that goes in the garage. My little car that gets me to and from work. And I just like made a joke like, who am I? Who is driving a 98 Corolla at my age? And she goes, well, how many people are 53 and retiring? And I'm like, yeah, that helps.
Good point. That's right. Hey, listen, when we quit our job, I remember like a month later, I don't remember what happened, but somehow the front bumper got knocked off of our Nissan Altima. And this is like 2013. It was like a 2001 Nissan Altima, right? And, we hadn't made enough money to go buy cars or anything yet. So I was like, but we were growing. We were about right. It was amazing. And I was like, and Jocelyn was like, we're going to have to get this fixed now. That's going to dent into what we thought we were going to do. And I'm like, no, it's it's not. That's a silver car, baby. Same color as duct tape. And I went out and I hooked that Nissan's bumper back up to it, and it looked smooth. So
there you go.
I mean, I duct taped it together well, and I drove that thing for probably another 6 months. And I just like, I was like, and every day I got up and poured my coffee, and I was like, I'm at home. Nobody else is. I'm making good money. We're growing, and I'll drive that Nissan Altima till the other bumper falls off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing we've done is the money that we've made on the guitar membership, we have not spent a dime of. It's been in a bank account since we started.
Wow. That's incredible, dude.
Yeah. I mean, we've paid like taxes and we pay our business expenses, but everything else has been in a bank account, knowing that one day quitting my full-time job, that we would have that to kind of make up. At the time I was thinking for health insurance or just kind of emergency kind of stuff. So it's really the Dave Ramsey kind of stuff. I mean, it does work if you follow it. So it was, trying to pay off debts, trying to think 5 years ahead instead of 5 minutes ahead. Do I really need that car? Do I really need whatever it was? I mean, we get the things that we really want, but it was really just kind of planful that way. And then just kind of doing the math. I mean, I probably looked at finances every month for a year, like, okay, so if we have this many members, what are we going to get this? And
right. Isn't that a funny question?
Yeah.
My kids will ask that, but like they'll be like, like Isaac really wants like, a laptop, a gaming laptop. Like he's got a gaming PC, and he'll be like, like how much is that? How do you save up for it? But then that conversation comes up to like, yeah, that'd be like, if you wanted one that was $2,500, you would need 50 members to pay you $50. So that like, it's like the membership math becomes everything in your brain. Like, can I afford that other house? How much would that mortgage be? That'd be about I don't even say like cash anymore. I'm just like, how much would that mortgage be on that property? And like 40 members, something like that. We need 40 new members. Is that what we need?
Yeah, you totally think that way. And then, I mean, the other part was just like, I started saying it out loud. Like I'm at family get-togethers or Zoom calls the last part of COVID, or even like my boss even knew. Like I basically had a conversation with my boss probably 4 or 5 months ago, kind of like prepping. But once I started telling, like we'd be out to dinner with friends, or I would tell my mom and dad, like, I'm doing it. Like here's where it's going to be, and it's going to be approximately this time. It just happened a little bit sooner than later. So also just kind of saying out loud, it didn't become like I might think about doing this. It became, I'm doing this.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome.
Vicky's like, the worst thing that happens is you get a part-time job.
Like, it's all reversible. That's what people, I think we are taught in life that things are not reversible. That's a huge false teaching that we all like buy into. Like, like if you lose your job, it's over. If you, oh no, what am I going to do next? Like you're going to go find another job. And like the same thing here, like you can go back if things fail. And I don't ever want anyone to think that we don't think things could fail. All of us know as entrepreneurs, the wheels can come off,
Yeah. You said earlier, by the way, that never goes away, that feeling. I'm like, thanks for the heads up. Cause I've had that feeling like all week. Like, I mean, even before that, cause as soon as we like made the announcement, I gave my boss the letter and we started, this is becoming real kind of thing. Like literally some of the pandemic people, some of the folks that joined back in April, March, where we had a huge peak, we got like 50 members in a month. Like those guys are starting to kind of like, things are opening back up and it's summertime, which is this is the worst time for my membership right now. So, but you see those people go away and then you don't replace them. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah, right. Because you're looking at the day to day, and you don't look at you can't zoom back anymore when you've got that security blanket like I do.
Vicky's like, it's going to be okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. The members like you. Keep paying attention to them, answering their questions. Don't worry about it. She just keeps saying, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm just a natural.
Yeah,
warrior.
That's how Jocelyn is too. Like it's like the stock market graph. Like no matter how far back you go and look at the stock market, it always went up and then it always came down a little, and it always went up and like you realize when you have your own business and it's your sole source of income, like that's part of it. Like there are times when there's punts and there's time when there's attack, and like that it always seems to happen right when you make a big move, man. Like gosh,
oh my God, this is what am I thinking?
I had about a few months. It was later, as the next summer after we quit our jobs, but we were in no way in position yet to be able to take big hits like that. And I remember we got hacked, And I had no, we did a podcast about it back in the episode. It's in the hundreds.
Weren't you like on vacation or something?
We were
crazy?
on vacation, and our website got erased, and it was replaced by a terrorist website that was written in Arabic. And like, it's unbelievable. Like, someone said, "What's wrong with your website?" I pull it up on my phone. There was a skull and crossbones on there, and it literally said "Death to America." And like, it was crazy. Like, and then like, at the same time that happened, like, someone tried to get into our bank accounts. So like, it was a distractive move kind of, and like, like all this crazy stuff. It was nuts, man. And it took us probably a week. But like, for that week, we were like, you can't make money when your website gets deleted and it's someone else is doing it, right? Yeah. And like, but we learned so much, and it was just part of the deal. And like, there's always stuff that happens like that you're like, "Hey, get your resume ready, baby. This is a good run."
Yeah. It's over. Yeah.
It's over. We made it. But let's talk about the more positive aspects of it, because everybody's like, "I'm not doing this anymore. Turn this podcast off." No, guys, let me tell you something. That's the 10%. The 90% is amazing. It's incredible. So let's talk about the 90% just a little bit. Like, this week is your first week since you quit your job, right? So like, tell me about the first day. I always love to hear what people did the first day, that the next day they woke up, because that's one of my favorite things to hear. And then like, how does the week feel? Like, how weird is it that you get to do this now? For the opportunity to do this on your own, and you control every minute of your day. Like, tell me about the first day first.
That's a great question. I think the actual first day, I took the dog for a longer walk than I usually do. She's loving it.
That is such a Kevin Depew thing, man.
Yeah,
man. You're like the greatest guy I've ever met. Like, one of the nicest dudes. You're just like, I took my dog for a little longer walk. She deserves it. She deserves it.
She loved it. We went to the grocery store on a Monday, and I just keep laughing, like, I'm never going to the grocery store on the weekend again. It's just not going to happen. We had twin grandsons, and their actual birthday was that first day. So like, they spent the night with us. I didn't have to worry about like, can we stay? Yeah, no problem. We're here. So that was cool to have them that night. Vicky's made the comment, like, isn't it funny? Like, you think you're going to have all this time, but you find things to fill up the time with. I mean, I still have been very good about like the mornings after kind of taking the dog for a walk, eating a little something. I do shut the door and sit down and work for a couple of hours. And if I don't do that, I feel kind of like, I like having just a little bit of time in the morning just to feel like, what are we doing? We're also running a challenge this week. So like, the mornings is kind of the prep stuff, and then the lessons are in the evening. So, and then cutting grass has been the other like dumb thing. You're like, I don't have to cut grass on Saturdays anymore. I can actually enjoy my weekend because I don't have to do stuff by the constraints of what I've been doing. I tell you, it's very weird not to get up and get in my car and go to work. It's strange.
It takes a minute to get used to that. It really.
I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah. And that's the danger too, because you cannot do anything, right? And like, it's like, so it's like, but then you're like, but if I don't do anything, the business. I tell you what I learned too. I thought I was coming out of the era of the 4-hour work week when it was first launched, like 2012. It hadn't come out too far before that. Everyone was kind of riding that Tim Ferriss wave. And there was like, this goal was like, passive income was everything back then, right? We've all realized there was a little bit of smoke and mirrors and that, Tim Ferriss is working more than 4 hours, guys. I hate to tell you this, but like, but the concept of that really, like, we created this business where we're like, I can work from 10 to 1 maybe. And that's probably enough, just to keep things going. And like, we went through that, and we thought that was what actual freedom meant, is that you didn't work a lot. But what I've actually learned, I'm probably crushing 50 hours the last couple of weeks, because I'm just so many positive things are happening in our business, and we're really trying to grow. We're trying to do these things, but it's not the amount of hours that you work. It's the control over your waking hours that matter. And like, I get, like you just said, I get to get up and I get to walk the dog in the morning. I like to get up and eat breakfast with my kids. I get to stop and you get to hang out with Vicky. Like, I get to go pick up my kids from camp during the summer at 12:30 when they're done at school. Right. And I think that's the magic. And I'm really trying to bend my message more to that, so people understand online business is not a get out of life free card. It's not a get out of jail free card. It's not a, you can build businesses that are pretty passive. I'm not going to lie, but there's no fulfillment in that. There's not a lot of fulfillment in that. Where there's fulfillment is when you're on mission, you're on fire for your mission, and you are maximizing your minutes, and you can get up, walk the dog, work a little, hang out with your wife, see the grandkids, do your challenge, watch your TV show, go to bed. Like, you get to choose every minute of your life now. That's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's something that I think like, okay, it's weird now, but I definitely can get used to this. Like I'm pretty structured. I'm not going to kind of like, not take a look at things for, a weeks at a time. And we like doing our lessons, and Vicky's kind of become part of that. She hates being in front of the camera, but she's the one who's helping moderate the comments, and everyone knows her.
Yeah.
And now our dog is the official mascot. So I've stopped trying to keep the dog off the camera. I just don't even care anymore.
No, man.
She just runs around and she jumps on me or whatever. And I'm like, they all know Maggie May is the official mascot of Relax on Guitar. So we like doing those things. So if I could do that kind of a day where I get to decide, when am I getting up and where I'm going to go and who I'm going to talk to, that's freedom.
How cool is it too that you get to like you get to hang out with your spouse for work?
Yeah.
And you get to make a living together. That's pretty incredible when you think about it, because you went 30 years going in different directions until she retired. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, man, we get to go do our own thing in the morning, but then we get to come together for a few hours and serve these people together. Mm-hmm. Like, how's that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it feels better when I listen to her more. So,
yeah, that's totally me. Yeah. When I'm speaking, I always I have this little thing. Whenever I'm talking about Jocelyn, I always call her my wise, beautiful, smarter than me wife, and then I look at the crowd and go, "Who's always right?" And by the end of it, they're all like, "Who's always right?" Like,
yeah,
it's so true.
It's so true. She's like, I told you that, or see what I said, or I mean, not like in a bad way, but I mean, she has a much more realistic kind of view. Like, there's, everything doesn't have to happen in one day, and if you just keep being yourself and helping people, the other stuff's eventually going to follow. There might be lulls, but there's still going to be high points. So, it's been very good. And some of the people that I talked to, like my going away thing at work and stuff, people were confused because they were like, "What are you doing?" And I would tell them, and they were like, "Oh, you have guitar students." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I don't actually like meet them in person. It's all through the computer and through and they pay you every month." Yes, I can predict kind of what's going to happen that way. And you and your wife get along? And I'm like, yeah, because
that's the question that everybody asks.
If we didn't, none of this would be happening.
Yeah.
So that's been very nice.
Awesome, man.
And I think like just this kind of next part of our journey and our lifestyle, that's kind of what I've wanted. I didn't want to kind of wait for that to happen, because who knows?
Yeah, man. Your story is amazing too, Kevin, because I think that our story happened. Our story, openly, we'll admit it, happened faster than most journeys do. Like, it's hard to go 13 months and quit your job. It just, you have to have some stars align a little bit for that to happen, right? Mm-hmm. We do see more, 2 years to 3 years to 4 years is the mark where people get to not start making an income. You can definitely get members pretty fast, but to be able to take total control of your life, mm-hmm. right? And, your story is incredible, man, because you did go through those 3-4 iterations, and you did keep going, and you didn't like give up. And then you latched onto one and got a little traction, and you just grabbed onto it and held on for the ride like a flea on a dragon's back or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But tell me about the length of time, because I know some people out there want the get rich quick kind of thing, and I'm more like get rich forever. That's kind of the goal. You know what I'm saying?
I'm totally stealing that.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? So tell me what it was like going it did take you 4 years to get to this point.
Oh yeah.
Was it worth it? Would you do it again? How did you, were there times you wanted to give up? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, I would absolutely do it again. And if there's a way to get rich quick, people wouldn't be on the internet talking about it. They'd just be doing it. So
that's right.
I like the rich forever thing. The hardest part was, the first, I would say like a year into it, when things were like finally landed on the idea, and it seemed like it was going to work. And we had, the technical stuff has never really been a big issue for me. I'll just figure it out. But things were built and the membership was there, and they would, and it would be like 2 or 3 months before we got like our third member. So like the very beginning was very discouraging, because you're like, I know it's good, and one person did it. And I hear you guys all the time. You can find one, you can find 100. And I'm like, where are the freaking 100?
Where are you hiding them, Shane Sams? You got them under a rock? Would you put them under in a boat somewhere and send them to sea? Where are they, man?
Exactly. So, I mean, I was never going to give up. That was kind of it's not in my makeup. It was like figuring out what to do differently instead of giving up was kind of been the change. But once we got to like the 100 member mark, that was a super big high. Like, oh my gosh, this is happening. This is real. And if we've done that, then we can maybe find the next, get to the 500 mark or whatever it's going to be. The challenges have been the times when it's like the lulls. There'll be we'll do a challenge and we'll get 15, 20 people. And then the next month we'll do another challenge and we'll get 2.
Right.
But it's just keep going with it. And we've had really good retention up until like the last, I would say 5 or 6 months. And I'm just like, that's kind of a sign of, the folks that joined last year.
Yeah. Summer does that too. All online goes down in the summertime.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then the winter months come back and everybody gets cold and goes back inside. And you get more sales. And I mean, you just got to grow each year so it's bigger than the last year when they lull you again,
I mean, I would definitely do it again. I think it's I like learning new stuff, and this is the perfect way to do it, because you keep doing something until it doesn't work, and you learn a new thing to get to the next spot. And I like functioning that way.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude. That's a really good thing. Is like the concept of I made it. Like what got you here is not going to get you to the next level. And like, and even when things are working perfectly, like what works now doesn't work the next time. Like, you'll do a Valentine's Day sale one year and you'll do the same sale the next year and it will just bomb, or it'll 10x. And like some of that is just, in God's breeze, because we don't know exactly why that doesn't work. But like, that is true, man. Like you got to be ready, because it's not like you can get to a place and hit cruise control. That doesn't exist except in cars. And like, you have to keep reinventing yourself, innovating, finding new members. That's the biggest number one challenge is always finding new members, because everyone always leaves or dies. Like, that's just it. Like everyone's gone eventually and you got to replace them. So yeah, that's a good point, man.
And that shift has been like, I think where we're at now and getting kind of the next level of it has been kind of the audience issue. You had shared the like tree analogy. I don't know if you remember this or not, but you had a really good answer to one of my questions in the membership about, I forget exactly how you put it. You told me I was cleaning the leaves of the tree with a toothbrush.
Yeah. Like that, like the main, so the membership model works kind of like a tree.
Yeah. It's a great analogy.
The fruit is the member, right? That's the apple. You know what I'm saying? And so immediately when you're trying to like think, well, how did I get a member? Well, you might go back and say, well, I'm an email marketer. I send emails and they bought off my emails. Right. And you're like, so what I'll do is I'll just focus totally on the emails. That's the leaves of the tree. Like there's a lot of emails you send and you just keep sending more emails and you send the same emails, you send more emails, and like all of a sudden you don't get as many members. And you're like, but dang it, why didn't the leaves work? Well, that's because the leaves are attached to the branch. And the branch might be like your podcast or your YouTube channel or your content. And you're like, oh, well, I'll just make more content. That'll fix everything. And you're like, no, but that's attached to the trunk. And like the trunk is like, how do you get your audience, right? And then the roots of that are like the actual things that will get you your audience, a new audience or what. Or your trunk is like your existing audience, right? But you can only go to that well so many times or it'll die. So you got to go down to the roots. And the roots are like, I'm a guest on someone else's podcast who put me in front of their audience, or I'm buying ads, and ads will drive new nutrients into the tree that will eventually like turn into fruit. Right. And that's the progression, man. You get the first member, then you get the marketing, and then you get some audience. And then it's like, now you got you got to go into the roots now. You're digging in the dirt, son.
Yeah, I need to.
And you're down in the soil, man. We're with the rest of us. Come on down here, Kevin.
Yeah, you're like,
let's see what we can dig up.
You need to pay attention to a different metric, and that is in the dirt, in the ground. So yeah, you were talking about adding rings of the tree. So I mean, my audience I have now, I think I am at the point where like I kind of need to change where the roots are going to get the audience to then have this stuff to go
and
to.
Like
I never thought of that.
Like that's the thing about trees. What's interesting is they don't just grow up, right? They grow out.
Yes.
Like they get bigger in width, right? And that's what everybody looks at, the money going straight up, right? Like I think this is why people start like going crazy and raising their prices and all this stuff and charge what I'm worth. You're not worth $10,000. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Like you can't just raise your prices forever. The market gets to pick your price, not you, honey. Sorry, Snowflakes. But like, that's the way it is. So, but you can go wide. Like you can totally get wider. And that's where audience growth becomes the number one focus, because leads and audience growth are now everything to you. If you're going to like scale your membership. So tell me, I want to talk more about that. I want to talk about audience growth, because that's something we don't touch on a lot here. And I want to make sure we talk about it. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you have been an active Flip Lifestyle family member. I mean, just to remind everybody, you're talking to the member of the year in 2018, y'all.
The original, yes.
The first member of the year in Flip
Still
Lifestyle
have my rock.
community history. He's got his rock sitting on his desk. How has been in our community, not just our community. I mean, it is our community, and I'm shamelessly asking you to brag about us. But like, just how has that been different? Like, because there's a lot of courses out there, there's a lot of things like that. But how has that journey of being in a community helped you get like to your individual goal now? Because I will say this, Kevin, one thing I love about you, man, is Kevin, you don't just like actively participate in the community. You don't just like come in and take and ask questions. Like, you answer other people's questions, you help others, and you're a really active part of the family. So like how was that a big part of getting to where you are like right now?
I mean, initially it was everything, like somewhere to go where I can like ask a question to somebody who has a clue or is at least in the same kind of boat has been huge, because I don't have any friends that are doing online content marketing. I mean, which is basically what I'm doing.
Yeah. You're a media company now, son.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I don't have any friends that have YouTube channels that they're trying to grow or whatever. So initially being somewhere you could ask a question and people that were genuinely, wanting to help you, answering back. And that just fed me to like, well, if I'm just a few steps ahead of this guy, I'm going to answer their question and say, here's what I did, or here's what it looked like. And that's what it's kind of turned more into. Like, every once in a while I'll go in and kind of like post something about a success story, or we got to this or whatever. But for the most part, I'll just kind of scan through and see where people are, because everyone starts at the same place. Yeah. And it's not the same exact journey for everyone, but some of the pieces are very similar.
Yeah. And I always find too, man, like even now, I don't know how many questions I've answered in the last 6 or 7 years. I have no
300 for me. I don't know.
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah. Times that by members. Oh, yeah. Gosh. But even now, man, when I feel stuck, I jump into the community to serve, because even answering a simple question that somebody might just be encountering for the first time, but everyone encounters, like, it makes my brain move in a way that makes me realize something in my own business that I'm neglecting, like a fundamental, or just teaching something or thinking of, like, even that tree analogy the other day. Like, you asked a question, and I'd never told that to anyone before. I just thought of it. I was like, wow, this is what it's kind of, you know what I'm saying? So like, you got it printed.
I drew it. I drew a tree, and it's like, it's on a sticky note, and I'm like, got to grow the audience.
I got to get the trunk bigger, baby.
Stop screwing around with the leaves and the apples right now. You got to worry about.
But when you're in those conversations on a daily basis, right, in your own business, either helping or getting helped, right, man, it just like makes your brain move in ways that you just like. I can't imagine locked in my room alone trying to figure all this out, and not having a way to even like break the writer's block sometimes of how to grow or how to do anything else like that. And it's one reason we created Flip Lifestyle the way we did. Like, me and Jocelyn had each other, and that was it. I mean, back in 2012, I mean, it was just like, gosh, can we even do this? Can we even figure this out? And the circles then felt smaller. Like, there was nowhere to go, like to hang out with people. Like, there were forums, but it was all anonymous cheesy car salesman trying to get online, right? So it was like there was just nowhere to go, man. But like, man, just even now, just hearing those questions over and over even is so beneficial to me. And I'm just grateful every day that there's people that we can hang out with, and like the like-mindedness too, like that cheesy car salesman forum. I'm not going to say what it is, because if I said it, a lot of people would actually recognize it. But like having you're just Kevin. You live in Cincinnati. You're just the guy that plays guitar. You're my buddy. You know, like and having other people that actually are like, I'm doing this so my grandkids can spend the night. Yeah, man, that's just epic, dude. You know. Yeah,
and I mean another huge part too is just like, and it's not so much the accountability. I mean, I do hold, but somewhere where you could just write down what the heck is in your brain. Like, okay, here's the next thing I'm going to try doing. I'm going to post it here. I know somebody's going to look at it and ask me, how did that go? Or I would have the motivation to then go follow up and say, here's what happened. Yeah. Here's what I learned. I mean, that was huge too.
And I'm telling you, I have bad days like the rest of them. And, you know, I was having a bad day the other day, and I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and read these forums and the success stories, because somebody else is having a good day if I'm having a bad one. So maybe I can just piggyback off their good day. Right.
Oh, you got some members that are crushing it, man. Yeah.
Dude, there are some people right now, man. I mean, it's crazy. Like what's happening. I mean, we're seeing, I think what we're seeing is like you just hit this maturation point where you're like, okay, I'm going for it. Right. And we've got so many people in there that have been here for so long, and they are starting to see fruition. Right. But then we're also seeing the people that like maybe hit where you did a year ago, and now they've went from 200 to 500. Then we're seeing the 500 to the thousands. And, and it's just incredible seeing how many people out there are just like absolutely building these communities, and that ripple, man, like the good that our members do in the world, like kills me, man. Like, it's just crazy. Like hearing your ripple, I went all the way around the world and came back to me on a stage in Tampa, Florida.
That's just mind blowing when you think about it.
It's mind blowing, dude. And
how many people are in the world, and there's us two, and then it's weird.
I know, and just God said wink, right there, you know. And like think about your membership too, though, man. Like, you know, hobby memberships get a bad rap because like people are like, well, one, they're like, I can't make a living with my hobby. Yes, you can. You 100% can. And actually, I was in the shower thinking about this 2 days ago. I was like, man, I think the hobby niches might be where it's at, because it was as the future automates, AI, all these things happening, people are going to be turning more to leisure and stress. And our society is so fast now. People need stress relief really bad right now, you know. And just think about the good those couple hundred people in your community right now get when they get to sit down at the end of a stressful day, play some music, they sleep better. Our members are really doing great good in the world. And that makes me as proud as anything. But the money's fine. We talk a lot about money and marketing, but money makes the mission possible. But the mission and seeing people like you do good in the world, man, makes my heart happy, dude. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been, we owe a lot to you and Jocelyn for sure. I mean, wouldn't be here on one iota without finding you guys. So,
well, bro, let's see if we can figure out how to keep you here for a long time and make it even better.
How to not freak out that I'm like, what do I do now? Yeah.
You're gonna freak out. Let's just go find you 100 more members and you'll freak out less.
Yes.
You never stop freaking out, but you can freak out a lot less. The more you get in there, right? The more people you got. So let's talk about the audience thing. I mean, audience growth is where it's at right now for you. So like, how is Kevin Depew increasing his footprint right now on the internet?
Yeah. So we have about 10,000 emails on our list. I probably need to email them more. I know you're probably going to say that.
4 days a week at least.
Yeah, it's probably more like 2 right now.
I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just commit right here. Let's stop right now. Hold on, I'm not gonna let you go past that.
I'm going to write it down
for the rest of your life. You're gonna batch an email.
So I have no excuse. I can just write the email.
It's not like you don't have time now, dude, to sit down and batch some emails.
Yeah,
right, dude, and just batch 12 at a time and just schedule them once a month, and you're done.
Yeah. So we have, that's kind of the core list. What we've done up until this point, which, is still working, but not amazingly. You always say that there's, you either have to, forget your phrase, like put your hand in your wallet, or
you got to roll up your sleeves or open your wallet. It takes work or money. There's no other way around it.
Yeah. We've definitely been in the both category, but for marketing, we've been paying for Facebook ads. And we spend most of that's the hugest part of our business expense budget. And that has worked fine.
That's a good sized email list. That really is. I mean, for what you guys have built, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, that's how we've gotten there. My latest focus, and it was kind of, I didn't plan it out this way, but what basically has happened is right around the time we started thinking, okay, let's do this, and I can really actually quit this job, had also been looking at YouTube and trying to get more of a footprint there. So had what I've been focusing on is, and what would be lovely, is to really get leads from our YouTube channel and eventually not have to pay for the Facebook ads.
Sure.
So trying getting things organically. So had involved with this, doing a course and talking to some other folks on YouTube, and really focusing on, and I'm trying to do this in the emails too, the whole storytelling approach. And it's just not a how-to video, because there's a million. I mean, how many people teach guitar? I can't even tell you.
Oh yeah. Your story is going to be what the most important thing,
yes.
Like how relaxing and playing guitar like helped you enjoy your family more, helped you enjoy your job more, things like that.
And talking about those things in a video instead of just showing how to play the song. So I'm starting to kind of think in that mode. We did do our first kind of sales video on YouTube just last week, where it was a straight up, like, it wasn't to try and get discovered. It wasn't trying to get views. It was basically just, here's a problem that you might have. It's summertime and you're hanging out, playing with, hanging out more outside, and folks, hey, play something on your guitar, and you're, oh crap, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Here's a free download for some 3 lessons and the printouts and all that. And we've gotten 15 emails from that one video. So I know it's there. So it's trying to grow that piece. The YouTube thing is just is a new beast. So not that I've conquered Facebook or anything, but YouTube it's different. It's like people don't really go to YouTube to get sold to.
That's right.
They go there to kind of see things.
But they do go there to find answers.
Yes.
And that's in your existing where they're already searching for answers. So that's even better than Facebook.
Yeah, I would love to be able to have that be where we make our footprint bigger, to be discovered, having them come find us to get a question answered, and then, oh, this guy's not so bad, and maybe I do like him, and oh, by the way, he's also got this thing. I'll give you my email and check that out. So that's kind of the goal.
I still think you're digging too much into the branches. If we go back to the tree analogy, because this is why the content hamster wheel starts with people. I do think YouTube is 100% where you should be. Because YouTube's where it's at, man. I think there's all kinds of cool content you could do there to try to, get a bigger following. Even like you could do some one-on-one guitar lessons and play them on YouTube on a Zoom, where you're looking at somebody's like guitar, like get your members involved, and like you show up with Bob, you and Bob are split screen, and it's like, Bob, all right, go. Oh no, move your finger up a little. Like you could do something like that. I don't really see anybody doing stuff like that on YouTube.
That's a very cool idea.
You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Like, you just take a member and you're like, hey, guys, I'm going to go live on YouTube every morning at, 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday, for a while, not forever. And you just let your members schedule up, and you just jump on and relax and learn guitar with them for 30 minutes, right? Stuff like that, the content-wise. But again, going back, the goal now is to get your offer that already converts, your brand that already is awesome, your vibe, all that in front of other people. Those people do exist on YouTube. So you're doing the right thing there on your own efforts. Okay. And you might want to stop the Facebook ads and maybe put some money behind some of your YouTube videos just to build your subscriber base. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you do have to what you need to do now is get in front of other people's audiences. Okay. So you're going to have to tap into your networking more is what you're going to probably have to do at this point. Like we do this thing about a year ago. Membership Masters is all about this too, by the way. It's so funny we're talking about this because it's literally going out like tomorrow, and you're going to read all about what I'm about to tell you about. So, So there's this, a couple years ago, we went out to ClickFunnels headquarters. Russell Brunson was having an event, and I first heard of this concept called Dream 100 marketing. And he was telling us about how, he said like your network or your net worth is directly related to your network. and how connections are all that really matter or how you should judge your business if it's a success. And I started, and basically how Dream 100 works and at a very high level is you sit down and very intentionally, right, with great intention, you look and say, who are the 100 YouTube channels that teach guitar that I think could help me? Right. Who are they? Who are the 100 influencers in my space? Who are the 100 whatever? Right. So maybe you just go do a quick Google search and you like learn guitar and you see the top 100 video YouTube creators you see or whatever, you know. You go to Facebook and you look for guitar lesson play groups, whatever, you know. You read books, whatever it is. If you figure out the 100, like who wrote the top 20 books on Amazon about playing guitar, whatever. And then, so you write those down, you put them in literal order, 100 to 1. Like the top half are people that you might like, I don't think I'll ever be able to reach these people, but I'm going to try, you know? And the bottom half's like, I'll probably be able to reach these people. This is pretty cool, you know? And basically you try to figure out ways that you can serve them and build reciprocity and connect with them and help each other in some way. So like I started going down this rabbit hole a little bit then, listened to it, didn't really mess with it. And then last year on the way to a mastermind trip, I listened to this audiobook by a guy named Dana Derricks called The Dream 100 Book. Dana's a good dude. I actually put him on my Dream 100 list and now we're friends. And
well, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Right. So as soon as I heard the book though, I was like, yeah, this is where we need to be. And I made a commitment, man, last year that I came back, I told my team, I said, guys, look, we've got to get out of a promotion mindset. That's where the promotion mindset comes in, what you were talking about earlier. I got to do more sales. I got to do more content. I got to figure out this. I got to figure out that, right? Like you're just constantly figuring out new ways to get opt-ins. That's promoting to an existing audience. I got to grow the audience. And I said, we're going all in on Dream 100. So that's why I launched the Shane Sams Show, my podcast, my other podcast. I created a platform where I could invite people to talk to me, right? Like other people in my space, you know, John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, Dean Graziosi, like all these Amy Porterfield, all these people have been on my show because they were on this list. And I was like, I can now serve them. I'll email my tens of thousands of emails or whatever, and I'll share with them and reciprocity will flow back to me. And I can we are in the middle of a season of great work right now because like this opportunity, we've signed this deal with this live event company and I'm speaking on massive stages all across the country for the rest of the year. And we're doing these workshops live and in person, all these things. And, all of it's come from the Stream 100. Every opportunity that we've had, and our audience is growing, our income is definitely growing. And it all comes from this concept of it's not just about doing the things anymore. It's not just about building the site and launching the membership and serving well. You're already doing all those things. We need more people to know about those things. And guess what? We don't have to create new audiences. They've already been gathered up in places for us. And we have to go in and do it. Now, if you go into something like this with a taker mentality, like it'll never work. Right.
With a what? Oh, taker. Okay.
Like a taker mentality. Like what you have to do is you have to go into this kind of marketing with, I created this list intentionally, but my motivations were 100% pure. I am going to go and try to figure out how I can help those 100 people and expect absolutely nothing back. Okay. And whatever comes back is the fruit of this labor. Right. But think about this. Like, let's say you got into this dream thing and let's say 5 of these people you make great connections with. Right. And each of those 5 people had 20,000 followers on social media. You now have access to 100,000 people that want to learn how to relax and play guitar. Okay. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a major shift, but it totally makes sense. I'm already like going through my head of like who the first few would be.
I know, right? Like once you start thinking about it, it's a rabbit hole, man. Like you'll go down and then you get to do fun things. Like you got to figure out how to serve them well. Like I'm going to tell a story about so Ryan Moran, we've kind of known each other. Like we knew each other. He's the owner of capitalism.com. So he real big, he's an awesome guy, had a 10-figure exit from a business, like all sorts of crazy stuff. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Wait, did I say 10-figure? No, that's not right. 8-figure. I'm sorry. That was way too many zeros on the end of that. Still 10 million is pretty crazy. Right. He owns capitalism.com, all this stuff. And he's, we kind of knew each other. We had met, we had breakfast one day and blah, blah, blah. Well, I invited him on my podcast because I put him on this list because I was like, man, I like this dude. I want to get to know him better. And I think we could help each other. Right. he comes on my show and we end up like, talking, having a great time. And we find out that we both were wrestling fans as kids. If you can see my WWE belts.
I can see it right there. Yes.
Yep. And he told me on our interview, he's like, I used to love this wrestler named Tatanka in the 90s. He was a Native American guy, and he's famous for going undefeated for like a year and a half in WWE. Only a couple of people have ever done that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I love that dude. And like, so I got off the thing with him and I was just like, man, I'm going to send him, I need to send him a gift or something. And so I went and found an autographed Tatanka Topps card. It was like $20,
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to him. I put the address in wrong. Never figured out what happened to that card. I sent him a message. Did you get that? Did you get that card? Because I kept watching his YouTube, waiting for it to appear behind him, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, man. He goes, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You did that. I'm like, yeah, man. I must have went to the wrong place or something, and never figured out what happened. So I immediately went back on though, and I got him an autographed I found something better. I found an autographed magazine that was signed by Tatanka, and it was the magazine that featured his streak in like 1994.
Oh, cool.
Or something. Again, $20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. This isn't crazy, people, right? But I sent it to him, and I'm like, man, this is gonna make him happy forever. And and I didn't expect anything back. Doesn't have to give me anything back. Doesn't matter. But it's just like you open the door for like this. The mindset shift is like, man, what if I found 100 people that I served well, mm-hmm. and that I sent, and I thoughtfully gave them gifts, and I just figured out like, how can I help them? And great things happen. It's funny. The greatest opportunity that came from Dream 100ing over the last year didn't come directly from my Dream 100. Well, it kind of did. One of our strategies was, how many podcasts can we get on? Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I would invite people onto my show, and they almost always invite me back on theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a podcast. A guy heard about me on their podcast, went to one of my webinars, loved what he saw,
mm-hmm.
told his friend about it. His friend just happened to be the CEO of this live event company that called us and said, we're looking for something different. We think you're it. We'd love to have it. We'd love to make a deal with you.
Wow.
So it's like stirring that Dream 100 waters is actually causing ripples behind those 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows how many people they're touching or paying attention to them.
Right.
And just by putting yourself in the right place, you find you're in the right place at the right time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where everybody should be thinking about this. Everybody should be intentional about it, but especially people who are making it. Like, you got over 100 members, 50 members.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, just how many places? What's the top 100 conferences for people teaching guitar? What's the top 100 places for collecting guitars? What's the top 100 people talking about guitars? Like, mm-hmm. and then how can you help? How can you connect? How can you make it happen?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk a lot in Membership Masters. I'm actually going to talk about the strategies for it.
Okay.
I'm going to give ideas like where to go, what to do, and things like that, and go deeper. But this mindset shift for you right now could be a game changer. I mean,
I think you nailed it. It's like, you don't have to create a whole new audience. Your audience is out there. You just need to figure out a different way to help them and get in front of them.
Dude. And like, you have, listen to this. Now you've put the work in, so you have earned the right to do this. And everybody out there that's listening, that's like, well, I don't have that many emails. Earn it. Kevin's earned the right to have this conversation, people. Yeah. We're just letting you listen in. You know what I mean? You are in the process of earning, and I have full confidence that everyone listening to this podcast right now can go out and earn the right to say these words.
Yeah.
If you went to any of your Dream 100 and were like, hey, I have 10,000 emails and I'd love to do an affiliate webinar for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sell your thing. I'd love to do it. If somebody sent me that message, it was like, I got 10,000 emails of people paying attention, let's do a webinar together. I'd probably be like, let's go, roll out.
Okay.
Right. Let's start, or send them a message and be like, hey, I saw you sold some cool stuff. I got 10,000 emails. I'm starting to email my list a little bit more because Shane told me to. How about next week I send a couple emails out if you've got an affiliate program.
Okay.
If you go make money for people, they're going to pay attention. Right.
Yeah.
And you serve them, then they'll turn around eventually, and they've got probably 10, 20,000 emails. They might serve you too.
Mm-hmm.
Hold it. You get about 10 people with 20,000 people on their list each. And all of a sudden you have some kind of guitar lesson summit.
Mm-hmm.
That's 200,000 emails that you now have access to. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's just all about building relationships.
Yeah, the summit thing has been, well, one of the things that the members always say is, wouldn't it be cool if we could get together in person? So
Yeah.
I've always thought it would be cool to, rent out a space and just see someone's, and I've had like lunch and stuff with some of the members when they've come through town or I've passed through theirs. And that's always very cool to do.
Well, you can even make little relationships and have, 3 or 4 other people be like, why don't you, like the first conference we ever did was with Jill and Josh Stanton of screenthe9to5.com back in 2014 or 15, maybe. We just said, hey, our audience isn't huge. 14, I think is when it was. Our audience isn't huge yet. Your audience isn't huge yet. Let's see if we can combine audiences and put it together, maybe,
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And that was our first thing that we ever did. We just shared our audiences. We brought everybody together and we all made money, and their audience found out about us. Our audience found out about them. We rock and rolled and made good things happen. So think that's where you need to go next. You need to probably spend the next little bit. Like, I'm going to write down the 100 people that I think I could help and could help me. And also realize that you are not small potatoes. I mean, you've got 10,000 emails. You've got 200 members. That you have. You are moving toward influencer in the guitar space, right? That's amazing. And also, too, I do think if you email your list more, I think that you should actually have 300 members out of that many emails. 3% of that should be around. Is that 300 or is that 10 or 30? Yeah, 300. 3% to 300. I think it is. So like. Is that, hold on, let me do my math right before everybody tweets me.
Ask Jocelyn.
10,000 times 0.03 equals 300. Yeah. I think you should, I think you need to go after that list too and pick up another 100 from what you got. Right.
Yeah. I think the structure there is really going to center around if I can start doing kind of the stories and talking and just putting myself out there. Cause up until now, it's pretty much like, here's how you do things. Now I need to do more of here's
I would go find the top 100 podcasts about anything related to guitars, rock and roll, music, whatever.
Yeah.
And just start there and be like, can I be a guest on 2 of these a week for a year and get on 100 podcasts? Because then, I mean, if you go on 100 podcasts and you give an opt-in out at the end, and then what can you do for those people that have helped you, just creating your own affiliate program for those people is awesome too. Like, give them the first month. If you get someone to sign up, I give you the first month. I keep the rest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Start your own affiliate program.
Cool.
Money talks, man. People like to make money. All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap this up, dude. Like, man, I have no doubt that I know now for sure that you are the most guest appearances of anyone that exists in Flip Lifestyle history.
Prolific.
You are the most consistent, prolific, and relentless guest that we've ever had on the Flip Lifestyle podcast, Kevin.
If you ever ask me, I will say yes. I will talk to you.
I guarantee I'll be asking you again because you're going to succeed. So it doesn't matter.
Well, I need to go on the Membership Masters podcast. So
that's true. That's true. You get to 500. I'll let you have an experience over on Shane Sams, baby.
That's next, man.
That's next. That's where it is. But dude, I am honored to know you. I'm honored to have you as a friend. I am so proud of what you guys have accomplished, and I will brag about you at every speaking event that I ever go to, man, because you're the real deal, Kevin Depew. You really are, man. And I cannot wait to see what you do next, brother.
Great. Thanks. The feeling is mutual, and I very appreciate the time and just the attention you've been able to give us over the years, and the motivation to keep on going. It's paying off. So I very much appreciate it.
All right, y'all. That wraps up my interview with Flipped Lifestyle Community All-Star Hall of Famer Kevin Depew. And man, we are just so happy for Kevin. We're so happy for his wife, and we just can't wait to see what happens next in his membership. Man, he's not just selling things. He's out there leading a community of like-minded people all around one central idea. And those people are not just learning how to play guitar. They're not just tuning in to see Kevin, man. They're getting that benefit of being in a membership and being in a real online community. And man, his ripple is going all over the world. I mean, his ripple, Kevin Depew's ripple from the pebble he threw in his pond went all the way around the world and hit me on the face up on stage a couple weeks ago when one of his members was standing beside me, man. If that don't get you fired up, I don't know what will. And look, Kevin's story, our story, that's the story that we want for you and your family too, inside the Flipped Lifestyle community. Inside the community, we teach our Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint. That's the exact step-by-step process that we use to start, build, and grow an online business and quit our jobs. It's the exact same plan that Kevin used to build his business too. And it's not just a bunch of courses. You will be surrounded by hundreds of family-focused entrepreneurs from around the world who are chasing the same goal you are and are there to help you succeed. We'd love to help you get started. You can actually get started for free over at flippedlifestyle.com/free. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com/free. You'll be able to take a bunch of free courses. You'll be able to go in there and find your idea. We'll help you get over all those obstacles and fears that are holding you back. And you'll have a chance to interact with the Flipped Lifestyle community there too. So start your online business journey today. You never know where you might end up. You might be like Kevin, retiring early, hanging out with the grandkids, and talking to me right here on the show. And if you already have a membership and you're ready to grow and scale, you need to do what Kevin did. You need to subscribe to the Membership Masters newsletter. That is my print newsletter that I mail out to subscribers every single month. When you subscribe to Membership Masters newsletter, you will get full access to our community forums in all community areas. And every single month, I will send you articles and an actual calendar that you can use to promote your membership every single day of the month. To learn more about the Membership Masters newsletter, head over to shanesams.com. All right, y'all, before I go, I would love to share a Bible verse with you. You know, Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible, and I'm always amazed at how much wisdom there is in there for business. And in honor of Kevin Depew, man, I had to go with Galatians Chapter 6, verse 9 today. The Bible says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Y'all, I personally walked every step of this journey with Kevin Depew because that's what we do inside the Flipped Lifestyle community. I've seen his struggles. I've seen him go through the fire. I can point to 3, 4, 5 times where I was like, man, that'd probably make a normal person give up. But Kevin didn't. He kept going, and now he is reaping an incredible reward. Retire early, control of every minute of his day, spending time with the grandkids. And that's what we want for you and your family too. You can do this. You are not a normal person who gives up. You're here. You're listening to this right now. You've just got to keep taking those next steps until you see your dreams come to pass. If we can help you in any way, let us know. All right, guys, that is all the time that I have for this episode of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. If you love the show, do me a favor, go over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. Me and Jocelyn read every single one, and they mean a lot to us, so make sure you do that today. If you love this episode, give it a share, or maybe even tell a friend. We'll be right back here again with you next week. Until then, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye.
How's retired life treating you?
Well, it's only been a week, so
Don't know yet.